My dad's American, but he met my mum when he was doing a scholarship at Canterbury University. He signed up for Canterbury because he thought it was English, and he was in America. He thought, I'll go to England, and ended up at Canterbury in New Zealand. He'd never heard of New Zealand. It was the birth of TV3. It was the second year that TV3 had been on air. It was 1991 in Wellington. It was a sketch show involving mostly actors. So we'd write the sketches all week, and Dave Gibson would give them back to us with no, X, gag here, and we'd have to try and rewrite them. He's not a comedian. I don't think he'd say that. He's a businessman. He's an awesome businessman. He's not intentionally a comedian, but his jerseys are quite humorous. So, comic effect. Score one for Gibbo. That'll be cut out, won't it? And then it was great people like Murray Keane, who's now an amazing director, Kevin Smith, the loveliest guy in the world, who's obviously now is dead, and just a whole lot of really cool people. It was in the height of sketch when Australian shows were doing really well, like Fast Forward, because we did Away Laughing, and then they did skits after that, and there was like more issues and more issues, which we tried to do up here, and we did some writing for that, and they got guys over from overseas to school us on how to write sketch shows and make sketch shows. I don't think the sketch show has ever really been nailed in New Zealand since probably the days of McPhail and Gadsby. What was that? That was a clips show that they got us to do. This guy came from Australia and said, do clip shows. That's another thing that comedians get asked to do a lot. Jeremy Elwood's had this experience. Almost any good comedians had the experience of doing a clip show where you get asked, where they'll play in clips that they get from overseas, like Funniest Videos or something, and then they get you to do some sort of jaunty links in the middle, which is like a death sentence. There's no way to be entertaining or funny on a show like that. There's no way to hold your head up amongst your friends when you've done a clip show. Have you done a clip show? Have you done a clip show? A woman called Jude Unruh and a guy called Stephen Campbell had some auditions for the show Ice TV, which they didn't really know what the format was going to be. They just knew it was going to be sort of some entertainment between playing old Beverly Hills 90210 reruns. The producers wanted to call it OTV, but the guys at Graphics who were doing the titles said, there's just nothing to grab onto with OTV. There's nothing for us, nothing visually. If you called it Ice TV, we can have icicles, and we can have things freezing, and the letters can have icicles hanging off them, that sort of icicle font. So I think they went, oh yeah, we'll call it Ice TV. The most fun thing we did was in the first couple of years we used to lob things off the building. We used to go up to the top of TV3, up the little stairs and the ladder, it's about 5 floors above the ground, and we used to push things off and film them from the top and the bottom, just like with a little handy cam going, can you get it, follow it, oh no, I didn't get it. But we pushed like watermelons and bottles of L&P and a television. We did it until we got told not to. We did a thing called Bridges, which was basically me standing beside a bridge, making up facts, which is always really cool. People believe them too. This bridge was designed in 1831 from immigrant labour. The Swedish came over and made this bridge because it reminded them of their homeland. And you just say 186 Swedish men worked on this, and during the construction they were fed entirely on milk farmed in the surrounding area. And people still yell out to me, hey, Bridges! We basically, the whole time for 6 years, came up with stupid ideas where we would have fun and we would film it, and that was really incidental. If anything was new about Ice TV, it was that really lo-fi, do-it-yourself sort of thing. We'd go out with a camera, Petra and Nathan and I, and we'd film stuff of ourselves, and we'd bring it back and give it to the editors, and they'd cut it together. And the cameras were very lo-fi, much more lo-fi than they would have used on TV then. And so it was quite new in that sort of handy-cam filming way, and that was before all the, the reality stuff. And it caused a few raised eyebrows that we're putting such lo-fi stuff on TV, because the little cameras you could carry around and use yourself then weren't nearly as good as weren't even as good as the one you've got here now. So that stuff was all quite new. And kids television before then was generally a bit more worthy, and a bit more you had to be right on. You couldn't be as pretty rude and stuff as we were, and just as having fun and being stupid. So we got away with a lot. I've done 2 things on Shortland Street, both of them extremely forgettable. I think the Shortland Street people, time and time again, they make the same. See, when a new casting person comes on, they forget, the show loses its memory that I'm a really bad actor, and so they get me back on again to do some sort of small role, and then halfway through my filming, they realise, and the show remembers. It's like you can hear the whole Shortland Street waking up going, oh no, that's right, this guy's hopeless. And last time I just remember the director going, director saying to me halfway through the filming, "Oh yeah, it's going really good. We'll try that. We'll just do this again like this." And as a director myself, you know what that means. You know that means you are shit, aren't you? We'll try it again, but I really don't think we're getting anything. That's the translation. And then after that, they don't even try it again. They just hurry through it, and they're thinking. You can see them in their mind going, "Well, we've got to do this because we've got it in the script, but we're just going to cut it out. We're just going to cut this guy out." So I've done two things. One was a bad rapper in about 1997, and the other was some sort of proctologist or something called Winston, and that was only a couple of years ago. So when the new casting director comes on, I'll get another spot, another spot that will mostly get cut out. But it's awesome because some people, they don't think you're on TV unless you're on Shortland St, so like your nana and stuff. So it's a good thing to have. I'll always do it. And I'll never tell them I'm shit. I'll just go, "Yeah, when shall I be there?" Who Ate All the Pies was great fun. I met one of my best friends. He was the director. That's the coolest thing about TV. You meet the awesomest people. My friend Hudsy was the director on Who Ate All the Pies. And it was his idea to drive a yellow Mini from Auckland down to Invercargill and try pies all the way. And he wanted to call it Goodbye Meat Pies. But they wouldn't let him, so it got called Who Ate All the Pies. So we just ate pies for 2 weeks. It was brilliant. Everyone's got forgettable moments in their TV career. I did a game show and for the lotteries, and afterwards people said really mean things to me. Like a woman in Bulls in a cafe just said to me, "Oh, that was terrible, wasn't it? You were terrible, weren't you?" And I was like, "Oh, I got better, didn't I? No." She went, "No. You were just like a possum caught in the headlights." And I just went, being on TV is a license for people to criticise your work. I mean, I don't go up to people in McDonald's and go, "Didn't flip that burger very well, did you?" And yet, somehow if you're on TV, your work can be criticised. It's fair enough because, in a way, half the TV we make, they pay for. So really, they do have the right to tell us what they think, and we've just got to take it. We sort of learnt as we went. How do you write a half-hour comedy drama for kids? How do you structure an episode so that it has a beginning and a middle and an end? Where are the plot points? Where are the turning points? Where is a character at its lowest ebb? And we were just used to writing silly things with gags and stuff, but we had to learn all of this stuff. And Stephen Campbell's a master. He's a master of imagination, of imagining character arcs through series and giving backstory and stuff like that. The idea was to make a comedy drama series for kids based on a superhero theme. So the idea is it's just a normal 15-year-old New Zealand kid discovers or becomes a superhero, and then but he still has to do his homework. So and then everything that follows from that, and then you can explore all those amazing superhero, those comic book stories, the things that are bigger than yourself, the struggling with your identity, and the growing up and the changing, the being two people, which is all stuff that's just so good for adolescents, all that superhero stuff, just like Spider-Man. We just put it all into a New Zealand context and just have a great time with the girls and the baddies and the mentor and all this sort of stuff. And in the meantime, just having great fun and with stupid gags. It's funny because the format of 7 Days is absolutely nothing new. It couldn't be any less original in a way, because it is taken. It is the child of English formats, and it's the cousin of other New Zealand formats, like there's been A Question of Sport, and there's been Game of Two Halves, and there's been any number, and we did the panel as well, where people talk about the week's events. Because now I think we can do that because the New Zealand comedy scene has really come of age.
Are you going to sit behind the desk in the next few episodes?
I will get behind the desk. It's funny when you're the producer though, the pressure. Like, oh, producer didn't come up with the goods, so... And then from now on, when I tell them to be funnier, they'll go, "Well, you weren't, so why should we be?"